My name is Autumn Garavito. I am a somatic embodiment coach. I'm a spiritual healer. I'm a tarot reader, and I'm a meditation teacher. And one of the things that I really love about your church is that it's multi-faith and that all ethnicities and abilities and gender persuasions are welcome. I think that's wonderful. And something that's really aligned for me personally is that is sort of the motto or the go-to for the YMCA. That's how we feel everyone is welcome at the YMCA, and that's where I work. So this feels like a very aligned community for me. If you're able to have any paper and something to write with, that'll be useful toward the end. So I'm going to give you a moment now just to make that happen. And sometimes in online communities, it's hard when you're listening to something and you're feeling like you're resonating. So I'm going to invite you to a practice that I do with other online communities I've been part of, which is to just put ones in the chat if you're resonating hard with something like, oh yeah, I feel that too, or oh, I've experienced that too. So go ahead and just take a moment and just practice. I'm going to do it myself, putting some ones into the chat. Okay, wonderful. Well, thanks to everybody who did that. And if at any point you want to resonate, go for it. So I invite you to just savor this moment, okay, this moment together, because it was created especially for you, or else you wouldn't be here. So welcome. I'd like to tell you a little bit about myself before we get into practice and what brought me to somatics. So for a lot of my life, I was in my head. And by that, I mean I was thinking about the future, or I was ruminating about the past, or I was distracting myself in various ways, like we all do. Some of those ways were really healthy. So I too, Bob, read a lot of books all the time, voracious reader. I had hobby after hobby, and some of my distractions were not so healthy, like just immersing myself in work and making that my identity, or alcohol, using that as something that I went to daily as a distraction, or even doom scrolling, through social media. And I realized that I couldn't even articulate what I wanted. So if someone were to say to me, Autumn, what do you want out of life? Back then, it'd be a big question mark. Okay. And by back then, I mean about 3 years ago is when this all kind of came to a point for me. So I realized that others' needs mattered to me more than my own. And I poured into others as a form of distraction, yet another form. Yeah. I became PTO president at my kids' school. I was there all the time. I was like fully in it. I'm like, yes, let's do this. And I realized that I was giving, 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 but I started giving from a place of severe depletion. And so I found that I'd lost touch and connection with my joy and my spark. And I felt lost. Honestly, I felt disconnected from myself and from other people. And so, as one does, I got a dog. And I started walking my dog daily. And I listened to carefully curated playlists that had messages of like empowerment and like what I wanted out of life. And I was very intentional about what I took into my energy, my energetic space. And one day, on one of these walks, I ended up saving someone's life. And I remember standing there after the event and asking just to the heavens, as it were, like, why me? What am I meant to learn from this? Why did this happen? And I distinctly heard, heal yourself and then help to heal others. And that was the first time ever that I remember hearing from Spirit. And I started feeling like maybe there was a path that had opened up just for me. Now, pathways aren't always easy. And the kicker of it was that in order to heal, I had to become present to my life. And if you've ever tried to be present with your life, then you know that being in the body, being present with yourself without any form of distraction, means being there with your big emotions. And that's great emotions like joy and delight. But even those can be overwhelming when your system has been distracting those from those for so long. So those can be overwhelming. And then there's the emotions that are hard to deal with, like the typically negative emotions like sadness and grief and shame and self-doubt. All those things that get us up into our head. And so, and I love seeing all the resonating going on in the chat. That's beautiful. I needed to learn to expand my capacity to be with what I was feeling and to begin to notice what I was feeling, like really truly notice through really small, daily, intentional interactions and practices. Nothing that would overwhelm me, nothing too big, just consistently showing up for myself and building trust with myself. And so I heard about somatics and I was like, okay, what is this? What is this? And in case you don't know, soma is Greek and it just means our physical body. It's not our spiritual body, it's our physical body. And so I decided to study somatic embodiment. And it's pretty much the practice of learning to notice cues that your body has or bracing patterns that we have and messages from your body that happen all the time, often without us even noticing. So I'm going to invite you into a thought experiment for a few minutes. All right. So if you will please just play with me. This is a thought experiment in noticing. Okay. Picture, if you will, that it's the morning of a very important appointment that you have had on your calendar for over 2 months. You've gotten all the referrals, you've had to get paperwork together for it, you've gotten blood work. You know that this is an important appointment and you need to be there. And the night before you go to bed, you put your papers aside, you have everything ready. You're like, there's no stopping this train. I will make that appointment. And in the morning, when you wake up, the first thing you realize is, my alarm didn't go off. I am now running late. My alarm did not kick in. Okay, let me triage. I can skip breakfast. Let me hop in the shower. So you go to get in the shower, and suddenly you realize there's no hot water. Your water is completely cold. Okay, shower? No, not happening. Maybe a splash of the face with some cold water. No breakfast, no hot water. You're already running late, and you think about where this appointment is, and you realize you have to get on the freeway because it is far from your house. It's not close by. Okay, so now you're envisioning being in traffic. All right, let me get out to the car. Let me just get going. I'm going to grab my papers. I'm going to get my keys. I'm going to get in the vehicle. You get in the vehicle, no shower, no breakfast, running late, and your car won't start. All the things. Okay. And now I want you to just drop in and I want you to notice what's going on in your body right now. I want you to type it into the chat if you would be so kind. Anything you notice. It could be shoulders tensing. It could be breath shallow. It could be tears behind your eyes. It could be dissociation, like, oh, I can't even think and sit with this thought experiment. My stomach is in knots. Absolutely. That's a great cue from your body. My chest feels heavy. My throat feels closed up. Yeah. My body feels heavy and I feel like crying. Absolutely. And these are always fear, hopelessness. I give up. Yeah, we've gone from overwhelm into freeze. That feeling of hopelessness, of I give up, that's your nervous system saying, I can't take any more today. I need to just shut down. Tight with stress. Yeah. And that's just with a thought experiment. Okay. So the thing about our beautiful, wonderful minds is this. They don't know the difference between something that actually happens and something that we perceive as happening. Sleepiness. Ooh, that's a beautiful one, Fred. That again is going into overwhelm. It's like overwhelm and freeze. I'm sleepy. I'm going to shut down all the external and I'm going to just go within to conserve energy. We do this all the time. All right. And so the point is to notice what's happening in your body so that you can fortify your body and calm it down before it gets to those points of overwhelm. That's somatics. That's what we're doing. Okay. You guys did great. By the way, this happens to everyone to some degree or another. No one gets a pass. All right. Some people are better at recognizing those cues. And when they are, they can regulate their nervous system more quickly. But we're never, the point of regulation, the point of healing is never to not experience, it's to experience within your capacity so that you don't go into overwhelm. All right. So, through learning about somatics, I became grateful for my triggers. Those triggers you all just experienced that you put in the chat, I became grateful for those because they were messengers of what was going on within me. All right. The bracing patterns, they brought attention to the things that I wanted to heal. And I love this. Someone said this to me once, and it was so true. My tears became my messengers. Why do I feel like crying? Why am I crying? What message am I hearing? The tears are the messengers. And I also learned to have gratitude, to be grateful for the time I spent in connection with myself, learning about myself, however difficult it was, because it taught me about who I truly am. And I got to cultivate the power of choice through noticing and then responding, right? It's the power of the pause. Begin to notice, pause, and then respond. So through doing that, and I love the resonating, Daria. Through doing that, I began to see life as happening for me rather than to me. And I hope you all can see the shift in that mindset, right? I began to know, like with certainty, who I wanted to show up as in this lifetime. And I learned through consistent practice what no longer served the truth of who I was over and over and over again. And I began to release it, not all at once, over time. Again, this is 3 years ago, and it's been a process, an exponential process, but a process. All right. And one thing that I wanted to share is I was able to like cultivate, to really work on being present with myself through meditation. And that helped me feel what presence could really be like, how powerful it is. And a lot of times when people hear meditation, they're like, I can't meditate. I can't be in stillness with myself. I can't. But it's not really about that. The practice and art and like wonderful experience of meditation is that our minds are meant to sift through all of those thoughts. That's its job. Meditation focuses the mind. It brings it back. It allows the flow with a solid center. So you're coming from a place of centeredness. And through all of this, I finally joyfully moved from my head into my body, into the gift of being embodied, which is to be human. When we are not human, when we leave this mortal coil, we are no longer embodied. So this is our gift right now to embrace. So I'm going to pose a question. It's just food for thought. Have you ever felt like there might be more to this life? More laughter, more delight, more play, more connection, more support, more love, and more healing. A better understanding of yourself and others. Yeah, that life can be abundant for you. It absolutely can. Moving into presence with and understanding yourself allows for all of those things and more, so much more. It becomes magical. Life becomes magical. When you feel the embodied gifts of being human, like truly feel them, right? And hold gratitude for them, it moves you into the frequency of love, which is the highest frequency there is. And in that alignment, you are aligned with the divine within yourself and with others. When you lead from a place of love, love is an action word. Lead from a place of love. Presence brings you to love. You all are so wonderful. I can't wait to practice with you. Today, we're going to move from our heads to our bodies yet again, like we did with the thought experiment. We're going to bring attention to what we're experiencing. We're going to give gratitude for what is. We're going to heal a little bit of embodied wounding that we may have stored through the years. And then we're going to seal that healing with an affirmation of love. And at the end of our practice, there's going to be time for a little bit of a deeper reflection and integration where the paper and pen come into play. And then a community sharing, which I'm looking forward to so much. And then I'm also happy to answer any questions that you might have at the end. All right? So I invite you to get as comfortable as you can in your space. Whatever you need to do, whatever adjustments you need to make. If your feet can touch the floor, wonderful. If your back can be supported, wonderful. But whatever feels good to today's body, go ahead and make that happen. And I'm going to ask you to take one hand and place it over your heart space at the center of your chest. And your other hand, go ahead and place that wherever your body feels like it could use a little more support right now in this moment. Mine's on my lower stomach, just FYI. Okay. And go ahead and inhale slowly. And on the exhale, just produce a low hum. See if you can make it resonant so that the hands that are in connection with your body can feel it. Okay. In a moment, we're going to do that inhale and exhale with a hum 3 times. But before we do, I invite you to close your eyes or lower your gaze to avoid distraction. And I will hold this space. You have my word. Go ahead and inhale fully. Exhale. When you're ready, go ahead and inhale. And exhale, hum. And one last round. Inhale. And exhale. And from this intentional internal space you've just created, I want you to just notice what your own body experiences when you hear these words. I love my body unconditionally. I love my body unconditionally. And just get curious about where you notice sensation, if anywhere. There's no need to judge it. There's no right or wrong. This is your experience, and it's perfectly perfect because it's yours. Let this land one more time. I love my body unconditionally. You do not have to love every part of your body today. You do not have to feel perfectly at home in it. Just simply begin by acknowledging the truth, the undeniable truth that your body has carried you throughout this life. I'd like you to silently say, or aloud if you want, thank you, body, for helping me experience this life. Thank you, body, for helping me experience this life. Thank you, body, for helping me experience this life. And I'm going to ask you to stay with this mantra for about a minute, repeating the message again and again on your own. I will keep the time for us. Thank you, body, for helping me experience this life. Thank you, body, for helping me experience this life. Thank you, body, for helping me experience this life. And now notice what you experienced as you spoke to your body with appreciation. Maybe you noticed that something softened. Maybe you noticed resistance. Maybe you noticed grief. And maybe you noticed nothing obvious at all. Okay, all of it is welcome. It's just information that helps you get to know yourself better. You know, we give moments of silence to show respect for others. I'd like us to now extend that reverence to ourselves and take a moment of silence to listen to our body and see what we notice. Just stay curious as if you're meeting a new friend for the first time. I'll keep the time for us. Don't worry. Just a moment of silence. Beautiful. And now we're going to seal in any healing that we've received from today's practice with an affirmation. We'll repeat it 3 times, either aloud or silently to yourself. Okay? There's 2 sentences, so you'll have to repeat after me. My body has carried me with devotion. I offer my body appreciation and love. My body has carried me with devotion. I offer my body appreciation and love. My body has carried me with devotion. I offer my body appreciation and love. And when you're ready, take a full inhale. Feel the breath enter your body and expand you. Your breath is a gift. Without it, you wouldn't be here. And then exhale. And slowly begin to bring your awareness back to the space you're in. Begin to notice the sounds around you. Begin to feel the surface beneath you or behind you. If you'd like, you can wiggle your fingers, your toes, and just come back to our shared space in your own time. There's no rush. And I'm going to put 2 prompts for reflection into the chat, okay, in just a moment. And I'm going to give you a couple minutes to respond. And then we'll get to share our experiences, okay? I'll say the prompts out loud before I put them in the chat. The first is, when I thanked my body today, I noticed. And the second is, one way I can show appreciation and love to my body today is, okay? So here are the prompts. And go ahead and reflect on today's embodied practice. And I'll see you guys in a couple minutes and we can chat. Now for the community conversation, the good stuff, right? One thing that I think you all know, so I'm preaching to the choir here, is that we heal in community, right? And I just want to say, because I truly believe this, that our experiences and our wounds are our gold. They're so valuable. And so I invite you to please share your gold with us all today. Favorite ones is you take the palms of your hands and you sort of put them right here on like your ocular, like the base of your ocular cavity, and just kind of lean into it. So